three-dimensional world which you inhabit can be bent to your will only when you enter the fifth dimension.
Who do we got in the house today?
Dave Rose.
We got Mr. Dave Rose,
Hi,
CEO
everyone.
and founder of the great Montrose Foods, father and mother of the great Smoke Show sauce.
That's me.
My friend, Dave Rose. I know you and love you long time.
Smoke Show is actually progressive. It has two dads, not father and mother. It's two fathers.
You know what?
Yeah, it's me and my brother. This is super 2020.
It is, because I guess it's pretty 2020 to not judge the birthing of something by two brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Intersex now is totally, intersex parents or same-sex parents.
Yeah,
I like to
same
consider,
sex, same genes parents.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that you're actually quite avant-garde.
Yeah, I think that me and my brother being the brother, lovers, and fathers of Smoke Show is really the narrative I want for this company.
So what came first, the sauce or the love and sex between you and your brother?
The sex started at a very young age with me and my brother.
Okay.
Yeah. And then as we got older and matured, we realized that, it was time to try for a child, and we did. And my brother inseminated me, and I gave birth to Smoke Show.
To a lightly smoked jalapeno hot sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I know you've told this story before, but this is I guess it's called the MISCHO podcast. We don't know yet. We haven't named it yet.
Yeah.
We haven't uploaded yet. So
yeah. When's this? What's the timeline on this?
Next week, the first episode is going up.
Wow.
So I got to figure it out.
Amazing.
There's nothing helps make a decision like a deadline.
I love that.
Because I don't know if you're like me, but I believe we're probably cut from the same cloth, where nothing will get done unless it's a life or death. I will procrastinate to the end of time unless there is some kind of real necessity or, like I said, life or death that I have to make the decision or I have to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I have to put myself in these situations. Like, I have to make a hard deadline. That's why I work with producers, or else the song would never finish. I would never be done.
Right.
But I'm paying them. We only have 3-4 days. Song's done.
Yeah. I'm the same way, especially with business. It's like I have no choice. If I don't have a deadline, I have things will just go on and on and on forever. I've been that way my whole life. That's why I got kicked out of university. But now I'm a bit older, and I've given myself, I take the time to give myself realistic deadlines, and I try to hit them as close as possible.
Yeah. And do you find as you mature, you're like less hard on yourself for not being, let's say, as disciplined as you want to be?
Sorry about that.
And you just put yourself in situations where like you just have to like pull through. Like, it's like creating not boundaries, but putting yourself in a situation that you plan where you have to pull through. Like, rather than, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a kind of very high risk, high reward situation that requires you to deliver and
but
not shit the bed.
But totally. Like, let's say you have a meeting, and let's say you just set up that meeting because you will have to have gotten that work done for that meeting.
Right.
And you set up the meeting before you even did it. Just knowing that by setting up the meeting would mean that you don't want to show up and embarrass yourself.
Yeah, right.
Right? So maybe that's what it is. It's like you don't want to embarrass yourself. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, and ill prepared for a meeting or whatever the fuck. But yeah, it's definitely as my professional quote unquote career grows. I've seen a big change from the student I was in high school that was just an Olympic level procrastinator to now being more kind of, this needs to get done for this reason, and you have to fucking do it or else. But it's because I didn't care about my high school grades. Smoke Show and work is like, I didn't give a fuck about what I was going to get in a geometry exam.
There was no skin in the game.
Right.
There were no repercussions.
Exactly. With Smoke Show, it's like, I have put everything into this, and it's like, there's no option. It's like, the old saying, hungry dog runs the fastest. That's what it is right now. It's just go. And there's no turning around. There's no stopping. Foot is on the gas all the way.
So that's why you were saying put yourself kind of in a do or die, and you won't die. But if you put yourself in no situation, it's just gonna.
Yeah, you'll
coast.
do nothing. Will yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll dance around in circles, and it'll just be bullshit. So put your back against the ropes.
All right, so ladies and germs, we have Dave Rose here from Smoke Show.
That's me.
And Dave and I have known each other a long time. Dave has a fantastic company, and they make beautiful sauces. But why don't you tell the people? Because they want to know. Tell us your story. I've heard the story. I know the story, but this is a new platform. This is going to hit
and I'm
galactic
curious.
levels.
Yeah, and I'm stoked. I'm so curious to know who these time travelers are. You know what I mean? And like, who's hearing this? Who are you?
What?
So let me. So what? Do you want the story of Smoke Show Hot Sauce?
Yeah.
How it started?
Yeah, give me the story, and then I'll tell you about the time travelers.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Exactly. I need to hear more about this.
Yeah.
So long story kind of short. I was working. I had been kicked out of university, and I was working as a oyster shucker / busboy, mainly busboy.
Okay, wait, kicked out of university. I don't even remember this part.
Well, kicked out. I was put on academic probation.
Okay.
And basically asked to never return to Concordia. Sociology. No, I wasn't in fucking med school. I was in sociology, and they couldn't. They're just like, you're not cut out for this, which is fine. And
Fair.
When I left university, I went on my own kind of time travel where I went to a third world country, and I volunteered orphanages and shit like that, trying to find some sort of a purpose for my life, because I knew I didn't want to sit at home, play video games, and do nothing with my life. So fast forward a year or two, I was still working in the restaurants, and I was hungover on a Sunday, as I often was, and I was going to have dinner at my parents' place, and feeling like a fucking asshole because I was hungover. I was like, I need to do something. I need to do something productive today and not feel like a complete degenerate. So I had been wanting to make a hot sauce for a while, and I ended up going to the Atwater Market. I bought some jalapeno peppers. I drive out to my parents' place, and I get to grilling these peppers, and I have no direction really. I'm just kind of winging it. My brother was there. He was smoking ribs that we were going to have for dinner. So I charred the peppers. And then on my way in the house to make the sauce, my brother's like, yo, throw these fucking peppers in the smoker. Like, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's do that. Like, smoke flavor is great if handled properly. So threw it in the smoker, half an hour, no more, no less. And brought them in the house, started to like throw ingredients in. I knew I wanted to use a sweetener. I decided on maple syrup because it's complements smoke so well. Like smoked maple bacon is the best thing on the planet, arguably.
So it wasn't a Canadian thing, or was that?
I mean, I think that the Canadian thing was that it was in my fucking house. We had a giant jug of maple syrup. That is very Canadian.
Yeah.
Of like having a $50 jug of pure Canadian maple syrup.
You had no agave?
No, none of that in the Rose.
You didn't have any molasses?
No molasses either. So it was like, grab the maple syrup, put it in the blender, blend it up. So blended the sauce. There was other stuff in there, apple cider vinegar, ballpark mustard, onion, lemon juice, shit like that. And then blended it all up, strained it, boiled it, and bottled it. And then about a week or two later, I had another party.
Well, your family home was known for amazing parties.
Yeah. The Rose residence, it wasn't just Smoke Show that came out of that household. There was a lot of stories.
It was a vibe.
A lot of crazy shit went on in that house, which has now been sold. But shout out to my parents, who probably won't hear this, but still, they deserve a shout out because
I'll send them a link.
Yeah. Send them a link. My mom would be stoked. Yeah, I mean, that house was just a magic place, and we had a lot of parties there and shared a lot of crazy times. So had a party, which actually wasn't at that house. It was at my apartment right down the street from here. And the 500 ml bottle of hot sauce that I originally planned just to have for myself was on the table. It got finished. And 2 days later, the next day, two guys called me and were like, hey man, like, can you make me some of that sauce? Or can you next time you make more, can you like make an extra batch for me? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, it's like going to someone's house and having a lasagna for dinner. And then the next day you call them and be like, next time, hey, can you make me one of those lasagnas? Like it was an odd exchange. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, sure. And then, you know, a light went off in my head. I was like, well, maybe I can sell this stuff, you know? And I brought it to a bar and a restaurant, of which I was friends with the owners. And they both were like, hey man, this stuff's amazing. If you want to start selling it, we'll buy it. So I went next weekend, bought more jalapenos, and just made another batch.
So it began.
And I sold a case of hot sauce for $65. And it was immediately, you know, that feeling of turning an idea into a business and like generating revenue at a profit was amazing, you know? And that was it. That's what started this whole thing. And now that, you know, that was 5 years ago. Now we're distributed across Canada, entering the United States. We're in like 550 locations across the country. It's been a hell of a ride, as you know. But I mean, it's been the best time of my life for sure.
And that's an amazing thing. That to me is a time travel story, because it was an idea.
Yeah.
You were looking for purpose. No, you know, you had this itch, you know, you said you ventured off, you did some charity work, you didn't want to play video games. You had this thing in you that needed, like, there was a bug in you, right? There was that need to do something, to create something. Exactly. I don't know if it's the artist in you or the entrepreneur, or maybe they're the same, maybe they are the same thing, but you wanted to do something, and then boom, out of love of, you know, you're hungover and you wanted to make something delicious. Right. You want to make a sauce, and then it just like, it spawned something. Exactly. Something that like you weren't planning this. You weren't like, oh, I'm going to make this sauce, I'm going to test it out at the party, and then it's going to go. People are going to want more of it. Then I'm going to start some test cycles. It just happened.
It was like jazz. I didn't write, you know what I mean? I didn't fucking write a recipe down where I had it all kind of, you know, okay, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and we're going to add this much salt. No, it was completely improvised and freestyled. And it really comes from, you know, a sense of creativity that I don't know. I think it, you know, not to get too deep with it, but I guess we can, because we're, you know, on this
We're
podcast.
in the 5th dimension, dude.
It comes from my parents, man. My parents, didn't matter what I was doing, they were always like, yeah, do it. Build this, or fuck around with this, or go take pictures. They were all like so supportive and like pushing me and my brother to be super creative, and like never shut us down. Never said like, what are you gonna fucking take pictures of this building for? Like, it's ugly, it's stupid. What are you doing with your life? No, they were like super supportive and loved it. So it gave us that kind of, I guess it was a sort of like sense of confidence, and like, you know, just do it, just fucking do it. And if anything comes from it, then good. But like, unless you try it, you won't know.
I think that's a gift.
I think it's the most important gift that I don't know anything about parenting, but that a parent can give a child is that fucking confidence to be like, you know what, just do it. And we won't judge you. We won't laugh at it. We won't, you know, if you want to cook dinner, and if it sucks, we'll still tell you it's good, or we'll tell you what's wrong with it and how you can do it better next time, or whatever the case may be. But that was the biggest gift that I got from my parents, was just the support, no matter what we were doing, no matter what insanity me and my brother and my sister were up to, you know?
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful thing. Also, side note, it would be hugely hypocritical of your mother to tell you not to take pictures of shit, because I follow her on Instagram.
I mean, Hot Flash. First of all, how good's her name? Hot Flash is
amazing.
The best.
Shout out is that Hot Flash, no numbers? 2014.
Just because.
At Hot Flash 2014. It's a boomer thing. Yeah. You got to put a number after.
I have in my house, I have a print of a picture she took of water in a swimming pool, and I had her sign it at Hot Flash 2014, and it's hanging in my apartment, and I'm proud of it. My mom and people are just like, hit me up all the time, like, yo, Hot Flash is killing it on Instagram.
Yo, her content is consistent.
Yeah,
her attention to detail.
She doesn't know it. I think she's like an influencer.
I think she is too. Yeah, Hot Flash 2014 is definitely an influencer. So going back to their willingness to support you. It's like, we have enough voices in our head that tell us not to do shit.
Right.
If that was compounded with a parent telling us that like everything we did was shit and it'd be useless, why? Like, it's like my parents were the same way, especially my mom. And it's almost like they were like, yeah, just try it. Just do it. Just create. Just do what you need to do.
Right.
Without any sense of like immediate positive feedback or dollar figures. It's like my mom looked at it from, I think like your parents, like an artistic perspective or an expressionist perspective, where it's like, we're not looking to see how you can bank on this, because I see a lot of people that I grew up with, people around me who weren't as creative, let's say, as me, or didn't take risks kind of like I did in the artistic domain or in any other ventures of life, because I'm pretty sure their parents were more immediate in like the actions that you did. Like what was the feedback? What were going to be the instant results? It's like, don't be a photographer, because how are you going to make money with that? Like after
how are you going to support a family? Who's going to marry you if you're a photographer? You're not going to have money? You know what I mean?
It's like, yo, listen, I'm just taking a picture. But if you're conditioned to that, like growing up, and it's not like those people's parents' fault. Like they were conditioned like that too. Like the line goes a long way.
Oh yeah,
it's a long stretch.
Exactly.
No one's to blame here.
Exactly.
And this beautiful ecosystem, we need all shapes and sizes.
Right.
But
that to me, you know, it's a hard. I don't know how my parents ended up the way they did. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And the same as you. There's a lot of people I'm surrounded by that like risk averse. And you know what? A lot of them are super successful, have money, are set up. They're like living the dream, and like, you know, congrats. Like that's amazing. And I support that big time. And we, you know, the world needs doctors and the world needs fucking engineers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We can't all be selling hot sauce or fucking,
in the fifth
dimension on a podcast. But regardless, you know, the world also needs creatives, and how you, I think, get that is really by just letting your kid trust himself, you know?
Yeah. But like you said, it was pretty profound because you went to your parents and their support from early life. And I think that's a big factor that we don't look at just in general. It's like, we are really a product of where we come from, whether it be like physically or genetically or environmentally. If they were always supportive, then you probably, let's say when you were born, the algorithm or the probabilities of you venturing off into an entrepreneurial artistic venture were probably much higher. Like it probably could have been, it's like 79% he's going to be pursuing something in this domain.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait till the day comes when you're born, there's like an algorithm that says, oh, you're going to be this, or you're going to be that, or you can be this.
Right. Yeah. You know? I mean, there's going to be a movie about that soon. For sure.
Well, hopefully I'll write it, you know? You know what I'm saying?
That's it. No, I completely agree, man. I think it's, I think that, and I mean, just look, I'm here, I'm talking to you about my parents. Like I'm so honored that they're my parents, you know, like it goes full circle where like the older I get, you start to like appreciate the shit out of your parents when they're like that, you know. It's like, holy fuck. I know guys or girls who like resent their parents for how, you know, they were so like helicopter parents and they like wouldn't let their kids breathe or experiment or do anything, and like you end up resenting them. It creates all kinds of weird fucking dynamics as you get older, and then you have your own kids and you have like helicopter grandparents. The whole thing can get fucking gnarly. So
correct me if I'm wrong, but are your parents at this point in your life more like good friends?
Yeah, they're homies big time. Like they're amazing, and they're good friends to me and, you know, my siblings, but also to a lot of my friends. You know, a lot of my friends would just come over and hang out with my parents. And they're like, you know, I have friends who just will text my mom, like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you? You know, they have their little inside jokes and their little my mom.
You wouldn't get it, Dave.
My dad, yeah, exactly. My dad is more like low key, you know.
Yeah.
But my mom is like a bud to everyone. Yeah.
I love that.
Crazy.
Okay, so back to Smoke Show. You're 5 years in now.
Yeah.
And how have you changed from the beginning and now? And in this trajectory, we'll get to that, but like, let's say 5 years from now, because what you learned in the last 5 years probably have shaped you as a person and probably understanding of life, right? Like, and how shit really operates.
Yeah. I mean, how I see it less now as just like a fun, cool thing, but also I was totally guilty of having this like fairy tale idea of starting a business equals you will be rich and successful and within a year or two, and like this big alpha thing where it's like, oh yeah, like oh, I own a business. Like it's not that. Like it's not. There's so much time and effort, and it becomes more than just a business. It becomes like every single day for the last 5 years, for 20 hours a day, I'm thinking about hot sauce and I'm thinking about Smoke Show and the brand. And when it started, I think I was a little bit like naive. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what a business entailed. I didn't know any of that. I was just winging it.
Cash flow, supply chain, all these fucking dream killers.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it was, you know? I like these things all just as a company grew, and then you start realizing like, okay, this isn't a lemonade stand. There's a lot more to building a brand and all that than what meets the eye. And you can't, it's not just fun and games, you know? Like you have to, you know, if you want to make an omelet, you got to crack some eggs. And unfortunately, there's shit that has to get done that isn't always fun. It's not always rainbows and butterflies and going to restaurants and having big fancy dinners and celebrating success. Like, no, it's not about that. And I tell people that a lot of people who are like thinking, especially now coronavirus, a lot of like restaurant people are thinking about starting a food business, and they'll contact me and they'll be like, hey, like I want to start this thing, or like, hey, I have this product, I want to start selling it. And I just tell them like, dude, you have no idea what, the mountain you're standing in front of, and how, if you really want to do this, how shitty of a climb it's going to be, and like there's a huge, I don't know if it's because of movies or whatever the fuck TV. It's like, there's this big romantic idea of what it is to start a business. And the truth is that you have to fucking grind all day, and you have to get your hands dirty, and you have to do shit you don't want to do. It's a lot of people out there who are just like, yeah, bro, I'm just going to do this, and then I'll be fucking, I'll have a Maserati in a year. It's like, no, dude, what the fuck you talking about? You know what I mean? And like, yeah, there's some people who are
How long did it take you to get your Maserati?
At this rate, probably another 5 to 10 years.
Okay, there we go. Answer the next question.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, that kind of answer, isn't it almost better that your parents didn't say, oh, cash flow could be a problem. Like setting up your 5-year plan, getting loans, this could like they were just like, oh, go for it.
Go for it.
So do you think that came out of wisdom of just like better to go in naive, 400 miles an hour, than to like plant
100%
negative seeds?
100%. A good friend of mine, Alex Massa, who you know.
I do.
Yeah, he told me a quote one time, and I live by it now. He said in all his wisdom, he said to me, jump off the cliff and build your plane on the way down. And that's what it is.
It's like, really the only way to do it, because there's no preparing for anything. Like you can come in as prepared as you can, but like something will happen on day 3 that will completely shift everything in another direction.
Yeah.
That's the way I learned.
Yeah.
Right. Because I didn't know anything about business. Dad passed away, took over the business. I thought I knew. No, I knew kind of how to sell.
Yeah.
Because I had a few years
I mean, you could sell water to a well. Let's be real.
No, I just like to make friends.
Yeah, fine. But you have the gift of gab, and we all like.
Oh, we both do, right. But that's definitely not enough to run a profitable fucking empire.
Yeah.
And so you only learn when the bank calls you and it's like, yo, this and this and that ain't looking so good. So maybe we got to turn out the lights. And it's like, what? I didn't even know that existed. Like that's a thing. That's a fucking thing. Yeah, we grew our sales. Yeah. But our bottom line went down 20%. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Don't we sell more, make more? Like that's how fucking stupid I was when I started.
I know, it's fucking insane. And yeah, there's obviously a huge learning curve, especially when you get kind of handed a company, right? When your old man passed away,
yeah,
it was like you were next in line, right? And you were surrounded by people who knew the business, but ultimately, it was like you were given this thing, and you're like,
I was 25,
you and
baby,
your brother, and it was like, go for it,
Yeah,
which is fucking insane,
cocky, confident dudes, but fuck.
I mean, the company at that point was doing well, right? It was an established business that was up and running.
It was established business. It had a place in the market.
Right.
Very competitive market.
Yeah.
So I learned as we went that like the size and the market share that we had stayed at a certain size because it didn't impede on other markets, and it was like strategic. by my dad to be a certain size because it was diminishing returns if we got too big
Right.
in the business model that we were in.
That. Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I said, we got to fucking grow at all costs.
Yeah.
And then when we started to impede on the bigger boys in the market, they're like, okay, you want to do that? We drop our price by 2%. You lose 19% of your business.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my dad was a lot wiser than I
living
thought he
in
was.
the sweet spot. Yeah.
He existed in a sweet spot, a niche that
That's cool.
And so I learned a whole bunch of things like this that made me realize the only way to substantially grow market share or to grow in this business, because I'm like you, I can't just stay.
Yeah.
Like if I'm here, I need to do something. I can't just be like ride off what existed before me.
Right.
I was like, well, we have to run more efficiently for sure, because it was old school, old school in the most beautiful way.
I mean, yeah.
And when you're running at that particular size, it's fine. But if you want to grow or you want to develop new products or you want to find money to invest in new products that could potentially evolve you into a greater player in the industry, you need to find the cash somewhere.
Yeah.
And so that pushed us to learn how to be more efficient and set up better production process and all that shit. But at the end of the day, it was like, no chance. Unless we're getting millions of dollars to like rebuild our entire infrastructure, there's no point in us doing this.
Did you like being in that position? Like, did you like being at in the basically more or less the driver's seat of that business? Like, when did you realize that you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Like now we all know the company sold, whatever.
Yeah.
That like it wasn't going to be your kind of, oh, I'm going to follow my old man's footsteps. I'm going to run this thing until I'm 7 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, like you wanted to pursue other things, and that's amazing. That's kind of like what we were just talking about fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do. And
time
that's
travel.
So cool. But was it like a heavy decision for you to make and like to like come to terms with the fact that like because your grandfather also like started in the garage door world, right? And then at one point you were like the guy who, or you and your brother, I'm speaking you, but
of course, my brother and I,
your brother and yourself.
Episode 2, Drive with Dre.
There you go. Was it like a heavy decision to like have to cut that, to like draw the line in the sand and just be like, we're no longer in the garage door business? Or was it super easy? It
wasn't emotional. Like I'm going to sound like a cold hard bastard, but it wasn't emotional at all. It was a completely data-driven / survival decision.
Right.
And it was like, I had been investing, even personally investing a lot of money to rebuild the infrastructure of the company. And we were going on, and we were ruffling a lot of feathers within our own organization. Because when you change too fast, you create conflict.
Right.
And I had recently gotten sober. I was like a machine. I was disagreeable because I was too agreeable before. And I was making these things. So it's like a lot of things culminated at the same time. So we were pushing the envelope. Key employees were getting really fed up and scared because they perceived me as being like irrational, where I saw myself as purely logical. So it was, I totally empathized with their situation because they had to run their day to day.
Right.
They had to do their jobs.
Right.
And so doing that while completely changing everything they did, the way they entered orders, the way it was a little chaotic. So after I had a few of these revelations, I realized that the changes that I wanted to make were not going to take 2 to 3 years. They were going to take 10 to 15 years. And what I was really doing was investing all this time and energy and money to be where our competition was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So then I said, add another 15 years. Let's say 30 years. Okay. And I was just ballparking shit, but I was like, it's going to take 30 years to gain 5% market share. 30 years of my life. I was like 30 at the time, or like 28.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, by the time I'm 60, I will have gained 3 to 5% market share in the garage door industry.
Right.
Eons behind technologically were my competition that are doing billions a year. And that rationale just said, I think that, and to go back to your question of me being in the captain seat, I think the best thing for the company was for me to be outside the captain seat and for someone else who has more knowledge than I do, who has more experience, more capital, probably an umbrella company, to come in and grow this. Because me alone, being like the Goomba, was going to take forever if it even got there, who knows. But if I stepped away, a mothership that could come in and wanted to acquire market share, let's say in this company, and they buy companies like us, 5 to 10 of them a year. Like we're nothing to them. They just buy us strategically. So long story short, my 30-year plans can happen in 2 to 3 years under new ownership, new leadership.
Yeah.
And when I made that decision, it's like, well, the company is actually going to be more secure without myself and my brother at the helm.
Yeah.
Purely expertise, experience, cash.
That's it.
And it was like, this will actually give us freedom because we're artistically inclined. We have imaginations, and that's what helped us in this company, but also hurt us because we tried to move too fast. We saw too far forward without dealing with today. And as soon as we made that decision, or as soon as I crunched those numbers, we got a phone call like the same week. My brother got a phone call by some guy in Italy. And
trying to sell him a Ferrari?
No, he said, we're interested in your company.
Yeah, which is
and it was kind of like, and right at that point, I was extremely driven to build something. Extremely. But as soon as I saw those numbers and understood that it was going to take way too long, and I wasn't, it was very stressful. It's not like this was like making music in the studio 20 hours a day. This was like a struggle, very small margins. Like, what you see on the outside is not what you see.
Two of us
I'm sure you understand as an entrepreneur, what people see and what the reality is are two different things.
Exactly.
And we were dealing with a cool like legacy and a cool optics, but what's going on behind it was like, it was very thin, very fucking thin. So that was a tremendous stress and I was carrying that burden, my brother and I. And as soon as the thought came into mind where it's like, we can actually sell now. Sure, it's not what we thought that we could get like 10 years from now, but this gives us some freedom.
Yeah.
It gives us some runway for a few years to like try things and maybe invest in things and just go ham. And hopefully, I think we're smart enough within those 2-3 years to make something new before it all fucking falls apart.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was taking a leap. That was like taking a risk.
That's it.
Unpopular to the people who didn't understand all the data.
Right.
But long story short, no, it was not an emotional decision at all. It was a very practical, data-driven, realistic one. And I knew that the company would actually be better off.
Yeah. And again, we don't have to get too into this, but it is very interesting. The change like that happened from, the MISCHO from like, that era or pre that era when it was like parties, fancy cars, all that, to like fast forward and it was like sober Prius. Driving a fucking Prius, it must have been a huge kind of, I don't know, like a rebirth, of you and your image. Everyone knew you and your brother as a certain way, and then fast forward 5 years to now, it's like it's different. It's completely different, and it was crazy, and it's very commendable that you like got out of that kind of. That lifestyle.
We had no choice.
That lifestyle that.
We're gonna fucking die.
Was fucking out of control.
Yeah, we were there side by side.
Well, I wasn't full time. I wasn't a full time.
Yeah, I was full time, I guess.
Yeah,
and it was part of my job too because I was on the road. I was selling. I was drinking every night, pretty much, for years.
Yeah, no, and it was peripheral. It was like I would come in, on a Friday and then leave on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's like you'd catch the wave, come in, you say, "Yeah, I'm going to surf that one."
Yeah, me and my brother coming out on the other side, like, what the fuck just happened?
But around that time, I had a conversation with your brother, and I think it was outside the restaurant, Elena. Maybe no, not Elena. Another old school Italian looking one.
Nora Gray.
Yeah. And we're outside of there, and he had recently started dabbling with sobriety.
Yeah, which he's still now like fucking 1,000 days. Was like 2 weeks ago or something.
Congratulations,
1,000 days sober. Can you believe it?
I love it.
Yeah, shout out to Nick Rose.
And we were having a conversation that what we do in life is how do I say it? Is a representation of our inner being. Like what we do or how we show ourselves or whatever it was, what I got from it was if I want to build a great company and I want to create impactful change, I can't be fucking hungover. I can't be sloppy.
No.
I can't be wasting money on fucking fancy cars. I can't be doing any of that shit. And none of which was reducing any of my stress. None of which was making me happy. none of which was making a good example.
Yeah.
Sure, like that's what everyone did before me, but it doesn't mean I had to do that. And I was starting to get fed up with my lifestyle. I was starting to feel sick. I was feeling like shit. Like I didn't stop partying because I was like, I had the power of God within me and I'm like, I'm going to stop. I was feeling like shit. I felt horrible. It was not fun anymore. So I was like, it was the perfect opportunity. Like I said, it was like the perfect storm to just cut that shit out. And once I cut something out, same as the business, it's like, as soon as I get enough data, I'm like, off, finished. And so that's what I did. I sold the shit I didn't need. I didn't need any stress. I just said, I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to shave my head and not have this thinning piece of shit rug on my head that I have to fucking hairspray like a fucking asshole. I was like, I'm done. Shaved my head, got in shape.
It's crazy.
Stop
man.
drinking. And
I wish we could go to like, 2005 Mish and show him a picture of this, of like what I'm staring at right now, which is like you bald, drinking water in front of this time travelers, the Galactic Federation. It's like, it's fucking crazy. And again, it's just you doing you. And I think that's, I always give props where they're due. And like, you've always been, especially in the last, 5 years, like extremely a very real individual, you are clearly marching to the beat of your own drum. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yes. And I feel like I was always real. I was just real drunk too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't think like I innately changed all that much. I just cleared some unnecessary things away. And you know what it is, like when you have a clearer mind, there's less voices in your head, less diminishing thoughts. And that's been like, I can wear a time travel outfit and say I'm part of the Galactic Federation of Time Travelers, because like you have to be honestly of clear mind to take this kind of like risk, let's say.
Yeah. Right? And we kind of spoke about this before we started recording the podcast, but what I see you doing right now is absolutely 100% performance art. You are living this whole thing. It's not just about you making music. It has nothing to do with that, which you've done music. Yeah. This is like a whole other thing. I said this before and I'm repeating myself. You're wearing a fucking uniform.
Yeah,
you
know
what I mean?
You got to wear a uniform.
That's performance art and I love it. I think it's crazy. And I think, and you know what I will ask this of you is, as someone who is watching from the peripherals of this whole movement that's going on, like, I want to know more. I want to know more about this whole time travelers thing. And I, we don't have to go too deep, but
what we're here to do.
Give it to me. Like I need to, you've broken it down for me before. Yeah. When I think when the whole thing started, you kind of gave me like an elevator pitch real quick and I thought it was intriguing, but now you've stepped it up to the next level. Your kind of chips are all on the table and you're like, let's fucking go, which I love. So I guess the question is, I'm not trying to interview you here, but what the fuck is going on?
All right. So what the fuck is going on? Well, the answer is, first of all, I don't really know. Okay. So let's just put that out there. Based on data and, marketing books that we've shared and a lot of case studies, I realized that I want to give my music a push. Like I want to give it all that I can.
Right.
Before I say, you know what? Because I want to make a living doing this. Yeah. I want to go on tour. I want to play. I want to make a mark. That's what I want to do. And a lot of the marketing books that I read, like about branding, was about like, take who you are and put it out there. Put it out there so that 80% of people are immediately turned off by it.
Right.
Do that because if you appease everyone, you are nothing. Right? You're just a snowflake. You're dust in the wind.
Yeah.
You're pissing in the pond and expecting something to turn green. No pun intended. But I love making music and I want to do it, like I said. And I love sci-fi. I love philosophy. I love all these things. I love all these aspects of my personality, and all these passions that I have. But not until recently did I decide to put them all together because music is in my mind like a commodity. Everyone consumes music, and music is the differentiator in the music is not necessarily music. It's the voice or it's the image of the music, right? Like when I look at bands like Oasis, I don't see them any different. Well, this is going to cause controversy, but in certain aspects, Cardi B and Oasis. To me, what are the common denominators there? Both in their heyday, she's still in her heyday, are able to make tremendous headlines.
Right.
The personalities are what shine or shone through. Sean. Who the fuck says Sean?
Who says Sean? Yeah.
They shined. It's the personalities. It's the image. Then I look back at the Beatles. Their haircuts. They had these haircuts. Those were like Antichrist haircuts back in the early 60s. Then I look at bands like Iron Maiden, and I look at Metallica, and you start to see something happening. You look at Kiss, and these guys were just making run-of-the-mill like top 40 rock music. But what made them pop through is they created a world. They created this Comic-Con like fan engagement and obsession because they created an immersive world that people could belong to. They're part of this secret club.
Yeah, it's more than music.
It's not for
a product. Yes,
exactly. So it's like the Galactic Federation of Time Travelers is really the brand. Time travel is the brand. Music is a vertical of that brand. It's like Nike, just do it, but they have shoes and they have all kinds of, they have socks, they have all kinds of different things. And Lululemon, we talk about all the time. Why can they sell leggings that expensive? And why are they that expensive? Well, they put so much into their community. They put so much into the yoga and the train. Even you go to Fairview, that's local shopping center. Shout out Point Claire. Point Claire, shout out. It's really about building something more than the product alone. Because if you have a product alone, and I learned this from my past business, if you have a product alone and you have no brand, you are subject to commodity pricing. You are just competing with everyone else, and the best price wins. Yeah, that's why the focus on building a brand is what, first of all, cuts you through. There's less competition. If you look at 10 rock and rollers, and 9 out of 10 are wearing flannel shirts and jean jackets, and one of them is wearing a spacesuit, I guarantee you, the one in the spacesuit is going to pop through more. And I'm crazy enough to do it.
I love it.
I tie in my philosophies of life. Not to be taken too seriously. Obviously, this is not a cult, as like some haters might say. Yeah, it's just like, it's no different than Kiss. It's no different than like Slipknot,
like the Grateful Dead, man. Like
exactly like the Grateful Dead. Yeah. A slow, steady burn. I want to make music for the rest of my life, and I want to go on tour and play for people who want to see me. Right. And I can only do that if I really commit to building a universe and environment that builds a fun, insane world for them to be part of. You know, it's escapism. This podcast is just another vessel of that. Right. Because I can't be really building a rapport with people just through like future predictions it's a hard barrier. Right. So that's an aspect of it. But like long form conversation and learning like so much from podcasts over the years, and Lord Rogan, because in the year 2248, Lord Rogan is one of the
he's the commander in chief,
one of the elders. But he showed me that he's a stand-up comedian. But his podcast, do you think has helped him fill stadiums?
Oh, I mean,
didn't hurt
him at all.
Didn't hurt. So the unsexy part of this is I see it also as a funnel, because I have to make a living. I have to make this. I have other ventures that go on a lot unsexier in the background, but this is the one that I love. And for this to be viable by itself, I need to create a sales funnel. And how can I create that sales funnel? Well, if I'm doing this podcast and putting out this content, not everyone's going to like my music, but at least I will have an audience who gives some kind of shit about me, who would be willing to try it. Yeah. And I'm comfortable enough in my music and my skin and that I think that I'll be able to convert a small amount of them to be music fans.
Yeah, and I think your product, it's great because it's not like a snake oil situation where you're just promising some sort of bullshit and you're not delivering. Your music's good. You know what I mean? Yeah, your product is great.
Thanks, man.
So it's a win-win. And you're just kind of casting your net as wide as possible.
Exactly. So like whether it's, the Gallagher brothers or Cardi B or Slipknot or Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga's got the little monsters. Slipknot's got the maggots. I don't know if you knew that one.
I didn't know that.
MISCHO's got the time travelers. And it's just a fun little community. And I always say, I'm like, I can't wait for like a few years from now. Someone tells me that they were in Amsterdam or something, and they're at a coffee shop, and someone sends them a coffee because they have like a sticker, a time travel sticker on their laptop, and they say, "Oh, it's on the Federation." It's like just a good vibe, paying it forward kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah, like Rogan started his podcast just to have conversations. It's not like he had this grand master plan.
Yeah.
It brought him no money. Most people made fun of him when he started it.
Right.
Even 5 years ago.
You know the real OG, Tom Green. And remember what he was doing in his living room? And he actually had Rogan on, and Rogan was like, "What the fuck is this?"
He may have birthed Rogan.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what happened. I'm not surprised. I don't Tom Green, in and of his, in his own right, was, broadcasting on the internet from his living room in the fucking like 90s, some shit.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And then he did it his way, which was kind of chaotic and, very Tom Green. And then Rogan obviously was like, this is the future, and he perfected it. And now he's the podcast lord.
Yeah. And Rogan understood, he understood the concept of being independent because, first of all, he owns his stuff. He can get his own sponsors. He's not tied to a major network. They don't have to cut up what he says. There's a massive freedom there.
Yeah.
It's almost an uncancelable thing when you're not owned by a corporation. Because why do people get canceled? They get canceled because someone did something and they're attached to a greater brand that can't be associated,
Exactly.
and therefore unhireable.
Right.
But if you create your own ecosystem, like Joey Diaz, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joey Diaz says whatever the fuck he wants, and it's all good because that's his brand. And that's why a lot of stand-up comedians have created their own worlds out of it. But back to Tom Green, I just think he was way too ahead of his time. Like, he created the technology before the world was ready for it.
Yeah, that's it.
And Rogan he stuck it out. Like, Rogan has said that he had like years of like 100, maybe not that low, but I'm exaggerating. I'm speaking in hyperbole.
Yeah.
Years of like 500 views. But what's most inspiring about him is it was his consistency. Is that wasn't everything that he did. It was a component of what he did. Like, it allowed him to network. And I think that's going to help me a lot because I don't typically reach out. I love having conversations, but this is giving me an avenue to reach out and to talk to people I wouldn't necessally talk to. Like, I would talk to you, obviously, but
You got to get my brother on here, man.
I'm definitely going to get him. I tried to book him.
Yeah.
Oh, I also booked Uncle Bob.
Come on.
Swear.
Is he coming in?
Yeah. No. The second he's coming in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Uncle Bob.
That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I text him every 2 weeks. Are you alive?
Yeah. And what is, he's still answering?
He always sends me an insane picture. Like he's some kind of like intravenous shit, or his teeth are missing, or like.
Yeah, his body, he put
Sober,
his
shout out
body,
Sober Coach.
Yeah, shout out Sober Coach. He put his body through the fucking ringer, man. And, he looks great for a guy who's put his body through the ringer. He's tanned as hell and he's got lovely silver hair, but yeah, he's got his nose, he got what he refers to as a cocaine nose job, or his nose is all fucked up, his teeth are all fucked up, but he gets.
But he's changed his ways big time.
He's
helped
sober
a lot of
coach.
people.
Got a lot of people sober. He's been sober for fucking, I think something insane, like over 15 years.
Yeah.
He's going to give me shit because I don't know the exact amount of time, but.
No, he'll love that we're talking about.
But I can't wait that he's going to be on here.
Yeah, it's going to be on. I need to have him because he's such a personality. He's such a character.
He needs his own podcast too.
Absolutely.
I don't know what he's doing. He's got to get a podcast. He would maybe say some crazy shit though.
Well, that's why I want to have him on.
Like really out of control stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the Diet Pepsi version of him.
Yeah.
Like you call yourself Diet Punk?
Yeah.
The smoke show brand Diet Punk?
That's it. I'm really diet compared to my uncle. My uncle's crazy. I'm like the diet version of my brother. You get my brother, man, you guys are going to go off on some UFO shit and it's going to be crazy. I love that.
It's going to be a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And but your uncle Bob is a wild cat, and he left a very stressful world of like drugs and craziness and madness, but he ventured off into a world of sobriety, but that was equally as stressful. So I can't wait to talk about this with him. He's on the phone all the time. He's like people wake him up at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
He has to fly across the world all the time.
I'd say it's almost more stressful, man. The guy is fucking working 1 million hours a week. He is doing, interventions for the rich and famous. A lot of these people are like hardcore, like business CEO guys who like need results. And like Bob's there and he delivers. And he delivers this in his own kind of fucked up way, but he gets the job done, And I think you're in for a wicked conversation.
But you see he's innately doing, like, it's not like he read a branding book of how to be yourself, but essentially it comes down to, if you're yourself boldly, you're going to cut through the noise. Because how many like sober coaches or like, psychologists or therapists are out there? Why does he cut through? He's the most rogue. He doesn't give a fuck who he offends. I'm sure people want to punch him in the face all the time.
All the time. I mean, people within the industry, regardless of how many lives he's saved, and like the amount of people that have said to me, like, your uncle saved my life. Your uncle saved my life. Like when I was in Miami with him, I went to an AA meeting. Like he was just going, and he's like, "You want to come with?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." So we go, and everyone there is super like, "Hey Bob, how are you?" And then they come up to me and they're like, "Yeah, your uncle, he saved my life. He got me out of the shitter. I was fucking on crack on whatever, and he like really saved me." But then there's other people in the same world that are like, he's a fraud. He doesn't follow the 12 steps, blah, blah, blah. Because like there's a very spiritual side to sobriety, and that like God will help you get sober. And Bob has a saying that, God didn't do this for me. I did this for me, which creates a lot of kind of controversy in that world, but whatever. He'll tell you more about it when
the
he's
truth
on.
is what you believe it is.
That's
right?
it. And he's just got his own brand. He's got his own kind of personality. He sticks to his guns. He never questions himself, and he just goes for it full fucking blast. And in return, he's one of the most sought after fucking sobriety coaches in North America. He does his claim to fame. I mean, what put him on the map was when he, after interviewing 8 sobriety coaches, the late Rob Ford, mayor of Toronto, who was untreatable, after a long day of interviewing people, they call Uncle Bob into the room, and Bob just fucking laced into him and said, "You're a fat piece of shit and you have a problem and I'm going to get you sober, blah, blah, blah." And there's a certain kind of honesty and like genuineness to my Uncle Bob. And I think a lot of people see that, and he's hard as nails. So all those create, he yields great results when it comes to that stuff, but he goes like, much like you, to the beat of his own drum,
Yeah. And I really think it's commendable. It's brave. He doesn't care who he offends. And like I said, if you try to be cool, not be cool, but try to appease the masses, you are nothing, right? Because it's not even innately yourself.
No.
If we live in a world where it's like, it's kind of scary.
You can't appease everyone. There's not one person on this planet that everyone likes. You know what I mean? So you can't try and
even Coca-Cola has half the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You can't go out there and try and convince everyone to like you. You're fucked if you do that.
Exactly. And so back to Tom Green now.
Right.
And so are you covering your face there?
No,
you're good.
No, a little
Look
bit,
sexy.
like it's
Because I'm looking for the screenshot after. I want to make sure your pretty face is
Yeah,
covered.
no, I think we're good.
Okay,
I
great.
think we're good.
So yeah, Tom Green, I feel like was just like a savant, always way ahead of his time. Like he had the product before the. It's like, let's say the iPad came out in 1985.
Yeah.
That's Tom Green. Like he created Jackass
For like $1 million. Like no one could buy it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the iPad's out, it's $1 million and it's sold by Tom Green. Well, no one would buy it and no one would understand what it was, and that would be the end of it.
And like Jackass pretty much ripped him off, from what I understand as well. Like Jackass was doing a lot of the old school Tom Green stunts.
Yeah, Jackass and I've done my research on Jackass. They played a big part of my life growing up. But also Pantera home videos were huge inspiration for Jackass. Have you ever watched those?
You introduced me to them.
So you have
you
seen
and
them,
your
right,
brother. We
right.
watched them together.
Right. Yeah.
We watched them together with some special cookies, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that sounds right. Yeah, all that stuff. I think Tom Green was inspirational for them. They're like buds. There was like bullshit when Jackass came out. People were like, oh, they're just ripping off Tom Green. But no, like, I don't know. Jackass was just like skateboarding world and doing like, flipping a porta potty upside down and being covered in feces. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's not easy to say, oh, they just ripped it off. It's like saying that someone else in the 90s could have sang Wonderwall and they would have been as successful.
Right.
There are so many factors at play that we are completely unaware of, that we'll never be aware of. It's like for something to hit and explode, there has to be some kind of magic, what are they, Goldilocks moment, Goldilocks zone that happens. So like even with like my music and the podcast, and I can read all the marketing books I want, but I don't really know. All I know is that will I enjoy having conversations with people?
That's it.
Yeah. Will I be consistent? Yes. Do I love to make music? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I'll just keep doing them. And if some super highway comes, great. And if not, hopefully I can just make this an independent thing, and maybe the podcast is all that ever happens. Who cares? As long as it allows me to do what I love to do.
Exactly. Just go for it. You know,
Yeah.
Foot on the gas, always.
Foot on the gas. So Jackass, who was your favorite character?
Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn, may he rest in peace, was always...
Spoke to you.
Yeah, he was always the guy who just stepped up and was like, when no one wanted to fucking do a stunt or whatever, they'd all be like, Ryan, man, you got to do it. And he'd be like, fuck, all right. And he would get up and do it, you know? So he was like the guy. And I thought he was fucking hilarious. And he was, I mean, they're all super genuine. And I think that's part of why, you know, it was so successful, was because you were watching these guys. It's like you're watching their home videos, you know? That's all it was. There's no production value. There's no script, nothing. There's just like these genuine maniac friends who are just doing a bunch of bullshit together.
And they were really warm souls. I never really thought about it like that. But there was a camaraderie, there was a team. Whereas let's say Tom Green was alone. And I don't think like to us punk kids, maybe he was like really hilarious, but was he really likable?
No, I don't think he was. And like he was doing like I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Tom Green.
No, I'm his biggest fan.
Right. But I think like the guy was so out of his fucking mind. Like I'm pretty sure, and I hope I'm not wrong, but that he went to a kid's bar mitzvah dressed as Adolf Hitler, or like in an SS uniform, something along those lines. Like that's insane. Whereas, you know, Jackass guys were putting dinky cars up their ass and like going to get x-rays, you know, and like they were doing, you know, stuff like that. That was maybe a little bit, they were only fucking themselves up. No one else.
Other than Bam, who was fucking with his parents big time.
Right.
Which was directly like what Tom Green was doing to his parents.
Right. And that's actually something you got to speak to my uncle about, was when he got Bam sober, or tried to, you know, that was like
he got close. Can we even talk about that?
I don't know. Maybe we'll cut it out. Speak to Bob. But
no, we were not cutting anything out.
But like, yeah. I mean, that was a thing. I mean, it's no secret that fucking Bam tried to get sober. No, I remember. No, I don't think it's a big deal.
Nothing's a big deal.
Yeah, Steve-O, Brandon Novak, all these guys are like tight with my uncle through, I don't know how the fuck, but yeah, no, Bam also. Crazy bastard. Again, I'm speaking like I know these guys, but I watched so much of it growing up.
Well, we grew up with them, man. Viva la Bam. Bam was like the standout, like the guy who broke out. Like he was.
Yeah, he
like
got
the rest of the crew
got the show
together
on MTV, Viva la Bam, and he really like pushed, you know, that whole product to like. Until he was nothing left of that man. Like he was just a broken human who's a complete alcoholic, drug addict, disaster. You know?
He was always putting on the show. I guess he couldn't turn it off.
Right.
Who knows? It's obviously more complex than that. I'm not going to pretend to understand, but he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people for a very long time.
Yeah. 100%.
I was a Knoxville fan.
Knoxville was amazing.
Knoxville is just like
witty as anything.
Yeah, and so self-deprecating. Like, didn't ever seem excited to do anything. Hey, this is Johnny Knoxville, and this is the mudslide, or whatever it was. Yeah. And he was just like, he would never say no to anything. Like Dunn, he would always just do it. And he carried it. He was like the face. He was like the president of that organization.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. He was a front man, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I always loved Knoxville, but then I remember when the second movie came out, they were all like kind of getting older, and you can see it that they were like, weren't at the first movie, they were kind of doing crazy shit, but not that crazy. And then when the second movie came out, or it might have been the third movie, I'm not too sure, but Knoxville just stepped it up, and he was like doing by far the craziest shit that out of any of them. And like, you can see that he believed in Jackass so much, and he didn't want his legacy to die of him like being like scared to do shit. So he just like went so fucking hard.
Didn't he have a catheter in him for like 2 years?
Yeah,
or
he
something?
tried to, his first time ever on a dirt bike, he tried to backflip it. And the dirt bike literally was landed on his dick and broke his dick. And he had a catheter. He was like on Letterman. He's such a legend. He was like on Letterman with a catheter in his dick. He's like,
it's just kind of, and he seems like such like a quiet, introspective kind of guy. You know, like he seems like a family man. I saw him out in LA. I saw him with his family.
Did you?
Yeah. I was like, fuck, that's Johnny Knoxville.
fuck, that's cool, man.
That's fucking Johnny Knoxville. And he's with his family and he's just going about his business. He's a very private guy, but he gives it all in his passions.
Yeah, that's it. And like, I wouldn't fanboy about a lot of guys. And I remember like when Ryan Dunn died, he died, I think right around the time Michael Jackson died. And I was like, I didn't give a, like, not to be insensitive, I didn't give a fuck Michael Jackson was dead. Like, I didn't like listen to much of it. I was so sad when Ryan Dunn, when I found out that he was dead. I felt like a brother had died.
Yeah,
you know?
I felt the same thing.
Yeah, and I remember my brother saying like, dude, like, I can tell you're like upset about this. You know, he like tried to comfort me about it. Like, I was like fucked up, man. I really, again, never met these guys. I did FaceTime with Bam real quick once when, you know, he was talking to with my uncle. But other than that,
But you felt it.
I mean, yeah, I felt it like there's a piece of me missing.
Well,
A piece of my like childhood was gone.
And how, like, because you spent so many years with that person, right?
Yeah.
Like through the TV, you formed this relationship, kind of
Exactly.
like what we're doing now.
Exactly.
And I felt the same way when, and I was out for dinner, I think with you.
With me when
Paul Walker
died.
that
Yeah,
fucking hit me hard.
Yeah,
And my
we
brother,
were-
I don't know if you felt the same way. I don't know if it was as you know, Ryan Dunn, but for me it was.
I remember we were at dinner. That's so funny you bring that up.
Where were we at?
We were at Liverpool House.
Liverpool House.
And we were having dinner. And I remember your order. What you ordered for dinner that night. You ordered a horse steak and
Horse steak?
Yeah, they had horse, and you were having horse steak and whiskey, and that's all you had. You didn't have a vegetable. You just had a lot of whiskey and horse.
Nice.
And I remember thinking that was really hardcore. And
That was pretty hardcore.
and then we got the news that Paul Walker died, and if I'm not mistaken, I think after we got the news, we had maybe 20 shots in his honor throughout the course of that night.
Yeah, and your uncle said that we were a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
He said-
I think he said we're a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
Was that the night with the frozen turkey? No. Do you remember that night?
No, it couldn't
I
have
think
been
it was. I think it
that. That
was.
was an insane night. That was a crazy night.
I mean,
that was like a what's his name? Seth Rogen. That was like a Seth Rogen type black humor holiday movie.
No, it wasn't that night, because that night Brandon Harar.
I think that was a few years later.
Brandon Harar ended up with us that night, but also we were at Liverpool House. You were having dinner, I think, you had your little crew. Me and my brother were there, and we
Joined forces.
We joined forces, and then we ended up going. We got shit faced. I mean, I'll say
This
it real
was
quick.
like what, 2012, 2013 maybe?
Yeah. Yes.
I think so, because like after my dad passed away, because there's no way I could have gone on with that tomfoolery if he was alive.
No, your old man had passed away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we ended up at the fucking cemetery,
Of course we did.
and it was your grandfather's birth. Okay, so I'm gonna tell the story.
It was
real quick.
December 21st.
Dude, it
probably
was-
2012.
Yes. So we're at Liverpool House. We're getting fucked up, and we decide to continue doing so long after dinner. And we walk in across the street from Liverpool House. There's a bar called Burgundy Lion. We walk into Burgundy Lion at 2:45 in the morning. Last call is at 3 a.m. And we walk up to the manager and we say, "Can we get a bottle of Jameson?" It was you, me, my brother, and Brandon. And we say, "Hey, can we get a bottle of Jameson and 4 shot glasses?" And the guy says to me, "Dave, the bar's closing in 15 minutes. I'm not going to serve you a bottle of Jameson. It's just going to go to waste. You can't leave with it at 3. And we said, "Give us the fucking bottle of Jameson." About 10 minutes later, we bring him back the empty bottle of Jameson. We polished it off like it was our fucking job.
I'm pretty sure we had help from the surroundings.
Probably.
I think we were giving out some as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
but we
The bottle
did a
was
good
gone.
job on it.
He was surprised that we brought it back in.
And he was like the bartender at
Right.
Burgundy Lion.
Okay, hold
so
on.
I'm glad we impressed him.
I'm forgetting a huge part of the story. The turkey. Rocco Mattia. Shout out to Rocco Delivers.
out.
He was we were having dinner with him that night at Liverpool House. And in classic Rocco fashion, he wasn't able to make it to my parents' Christmas party that year. So as a sort of apology gift, he brought a fucking 20-pound frozen turkey into this restaurant and dropped it on the table and was like, here, give this to your parents when you see them next.
Holy shit.
They're like, Rocco, what the fuck are we supposed to do with a frozen turkey? So we had it there at the restaurant. Then we go to Burgundy Line. We bring the turkey with us. We demolished that bottle of Jameson.
Where do we put the turkey?
It was just on the bench. It was like on the
Oh, it wasn't in a freezer or something?
No, it was just out. I mean, the thing was rock hard. The thing was frozen. It
had a good 10 hours in it.
Yeah. So we left it on like one of the banquettes, and then we end up. I remember being in the bathroom with you, and you're just like, we're staying in a fucking hotel tonight, Dave. Like, we're staying in a room. Like, we're getting a goddamn suite. You're just really fired up. We end up finishing the bottle of Jameson. We go to the Queenie, I think, the Queen Elizabeth Hotel. Yeah. And we get a room. I don't know if you remember this. We're walking through the lobby of the hotel, the four of us, and we were telling everyone that we were the Beatles. and then again, the reason I'm telling
this is amazing. I fucking love it.
Like, this is, probably 10 years ago, and it's just the change in both of us. It's worth noting. But you walk up to the lady the lady at the fucking whatever.
At the reception.
Thank you. And you're like, I want the biggest room you have. She's like, what do you mean? You're like, I want the fucking biggest room in this hotel. She's like, well, it's a suite, blah, blah. I have to call suite services. You're like, call whoever. I want the biggest room. She calls whoever. She comes back and she's like, okay. One night in this hotel room is $4,000. And you're like, hold on.
I need to do some calculations.
Yeah, do some quick. You're like, what's your second biggest room? She's like, hold on. She goes on her computer. She goes, okay, our second nicest room is $280 for the night. You're like, okay, we'll take that
one. Sold. At least I was still reasonable.
Right. So we ended up at this point realizing we'd forgot the turkey at Burgundy Line. So I made a call. Luckily, like, the fucking dishwasher answers. He's like, what? It was, 4 in the morning. We're like, there's a turkey in your restaurant.
Back in the days where they would still answer at that.
Yeah. Please put it in the freezer. We'll come get it in the morning. So we get up to the hotel room. A lot of like Greco-Roman wrestling broke out.
Classic.
The minibar was raided within minutes. We then woke up after maybe an hour's sleep and hightailed it to get the turkey at Burgundy Line. We walked in and they were getting ready for brunch. And the manager goes, oh, you guys are the guys who forgot the turkey. I have to give you this from the manager from last night. We're like, what the fuck? And she poured us like 12 shots of Jameson. Wow. So we took more Jameson.
We needed it
at that point. And we drove Brandon home to Ridgewood, and we were right near the cemetery. And it was your grandfather's birthday, which is 21st?
December 21st, yeah.
So you're like, boys, we got to go to the cemetery. Going to go pay respects to your old man and to his old man. So we show up there with the bottle. There was a bottle as per usual. I wonder if it's still there, the bottle of Johnny Walker Black
No, there's
Label.
no more Johnny Walker bottles there.
So at your father's grave, there was always a bottle of Johnny Walker hidden in the bush with some fucking shot glasses. So we show up there, we start pouring out shot glasses, shot to Johnny Walker. We're drinking them, whatever. Pouring it on Georgie's grave, yeah. and then your grandmother shows up to pay her respects to her late husband
on his birthday. So your grandmother's there. We're all hugging. She pulls out crystal shot glasses that she had brought.
She
brought probably Metaxa.
Metaxa, exactly. Greek cognac or whatever the fuck.
5-star.
But yeah. So we start drinking that. Then we get back in the car.
Let's just say the fire was lit.
Yeah. Someone was driving. We end up driving to
McCannon.
No, we made one more stop where we stole something. Do you remember what we stole?
A grocery cart.
Yeah, you're like, well, let's get boys at the office, your whole office. Let's go get them beer.
Oh, it was the office Christmas party, like in the warehouse.
400 Labatt 50 beers.
Yes.
And we went to Super C, and then as we were wheeling it out in the golf cart, you were basically like, Dave, we have to steal the shopping cart. It's in mint condition. And
because we used them in the warehouse.
The one at the warehouse is all fucked up. This is a nice yellow one because Super C has a yellow shopping cart.
Shit.
So I was like, at this point, I would have robbed a bank. We were so fucked up. I was like, all right, sure. We put it in the car. And the trunk, I drove a CRV that had like a trunk that opened
I
from
know.
left to
I'm
right. So the
starting to
trunk was
remember
wide
now.
open. We were driving back to the office with the trunk wide open, a shopping cart in it, like hundreds and hundreds of beers. And we were driving down St. Regis Street, and we're blaring probably Pantera, Metallica, or something my brother had put on. And there's a stop sign coming
Don't
up.
you even look at
And you're like, you see that fucking stop sign, Dave? Don't fucking look at it. Just keep driving. And we just ripped it down the street. The whole thing, I don't condone this type of behavior, but it was just a kind of magical moment that
It was an innocent time.
it was an innocent time. We got there, we fed and drank your staff, and
We had a great time.
But it was all of this that brings us here today. That I wouldn't change that for the world. These were crazy, crazy times. We got to Turkey. My mom got her gift from Morocco, and
Beautiful,
everyone,
beautiful
and we
story.
paid respect to your father and his father.
Yeah.
And your grandmother was there, and everyone was happy.
And we got the second best hotel room.
Yeah, and the second best hotel room, and the best shopping cart.
And the bet. That's like a win. And we got out of there pretty much unscathed.
Yeah, I'd say so, man. What a fucking night that was.
That was old school. That was crazy. That was like the stories that we hear like our dads talking about.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
It's almost too goofy to be true.
I worry that our kids. You want to have kids?
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know, man.
I know you know.
Why?
You've thought about it. You must have thought.
Well, I was having this conversation with my mom this morning.
Really?
Who puts no pressure on having kids.
And
And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I feel bad for them if I have them. Like, I feel bad for the kids.
why?
I don't know. I feel like...
Because why? Because our world's too fucked up.
No.
Okay.
Because they
I
have
thought
to
you
deal
did-
with me.
Oh no, you're great. You'd be a great dad.
I guess. I don't know. I also know that I've changed or evolved so many times that I say no to nothing. Just at this current juncture,
I don't know.
whatever, I don't see myself having kids now.
No.
But the idea of having a little kid irritates me. But
Come on. Really?
yeah, like my brother's like, yeah, I'd like to have some kids. Trin's like, yeah, I'd like to have some kids. You for sure want some kids.
I want some
Hey,
fucking
congratulations.
kids. Hey, thank you. Mazel
Someone
tov
just
to
got
me.
engaged.
Yeah.
Someone just got engaged.
I got engaged to a nice Jewish girl. Shouts to Ali, who, by the way, I got to give big respect to that girl. And you want to talk about support, and you want to talk about fucking a real teammate. That girl's like top notch, top shelf, and marrying her, I say this to her all the time, was like the easiest decision I've ever had to make. It was just like a no brainer. It was like, it wasn't have to like, oh, fuck, am I gonna marry this girl? I'm fucking no. It was just a no brainer. So shout out to Ali Robbins,
Shout out.
my fiance.
Rose.
Yeah, Robbins Rose. I think she's gonna like do that. I think she's gonna like take my last name. I don't know.
Old school.
I like it,
I feel like
She likes
we're
it.
going more old school as we go.
but I'm also fortunate that I have a cool last name.
Yeah, very cool.
I know. I was gifted with. I have Crohn's disease and ADD, so those were fucking hereditary. But I also got a cool last name. So shouts to
Law of averages, my friend.
yeah.
There's balance in the force.
That's it. It was worth it. So yeah, it's that's it. I want to have kids one day for sure.
yeah.
I think you're gonna have kids. If I had to put money on it, I'd say within 10 years.
Within 10
You're gonna get this going, and then you're gonna find a nice lady who who knows.
Yeah, who know? Like, I've been seeing a lady recently.
Come on.
Yeah,
Like, how'd you meet her?
I've known her for a long time.
Come on.
Yeah,
Anyone I know?
The one who's singing on the track, my dude.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
I love that. And how's that going?
it's going pretty good. She's
I mean, are we just talking about this openly right now?
yeah. Fuck it. Who gives a shit?
I mean, dude, I've known Jules for fucking ever. We worked at Y Sushi in Vaudreuil together.
yeah, and she we're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
There's no one wants to hang out too much.
Right.
There's good space and respect for
Right.
like freedom and boundaries because we're both free spirits.
Of course.
And I tell her like as a joke, like having you around is good because it's just like it's a protective measure that keeps me safe from myself in
Right.
in the late hours of the night where I'm not up to anything My mother would be too proud of.
Yeah. Nothing we'll talk about on this podcast.
Yeah.
But I see you like with that type of person. You know, you're
Like,
not
she
cut
gets it,
out.
you know?
Kind of like my brother. You guys, I don't think are cut out for like the kind of. I don't want to use the term cookie cutter, but like standard relationship. I think you guys will both be in your kind of, whether or not it's you want to even label it a relationship, it'll just be very, very unique in and of itself, you know. And I think that with the right woman, it can be great. I believe in that shit, you know. Having
I
a
do
teammate and whatever.
I see it as teammate as well.
Yeah.
Like she's got like a great charisma and personality, and I feel like she's already on track to be doing like really amazing things just based on her aura alone.
Yeah, she's good vibes, man. She's always has been.
Amazing and super supportive and just cool. And we get it. And we're not cookie cutter people. And not to say there's anything wrong with that, but look, I wear a tracksuit and I march to the beat of my own drum.
That's it.
So I can't expect myself to really do what everyone else does because I can't roll like that. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
But if I can have a partner in crime who is cool with that and doesn't just put up with it, is like that as well.
Yeah, like
because I would never want have someone like just put up with me.
Yeah,
because that's not fair to the other person.
There's Mish going doing his fucking crazy shit. Like,
yeah, I'm doing shit now that if I have someone who is like kind of rolling their eyes when I'm doing them, that's a total killer because I'm in this. This is before the storm. This is before the galactic explosion, right? So in these early years, I need like support, and I'm giving that support on the other side as well.
Yeah.
But like I was briefly with a couple other people before, and when I would talk about my stuff or talk about the fifth dimension or whatever the fuck it may be, and I get the eye rolling thing, it's just like, yo, sorry, I can't answer you anymore.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah,
that's it. It'd be the same way if I was with a girl who's like, hey, like, you sure you want to like be this entrepreneur and like run this business? And like, you should maybe consider applying for a job at fucking Bell Canada and just, you know, for stability and for our future.
Yeah.
You know,
and you can bank your RSPs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's not how I roll. You know, I just bought a fucking motorbike and a diamond ring. Like I emptied my bank account in the last week, but like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like
it's going to work out.
These were two decisions I knew I wanted to make and that was it. I did it.
Yeah.
And here we go. Like I'm back, back at work and I'm happy to be doing this. And it's fucking, that's it. Look, there's no right or wrong answer to how you want to live your life.
We're all
no
different.
one, and no one has that. And we sure shit don't have the answer. You know what I mean?
No, it's just like, who is someone we can spend our time with that like makes it like mutually beneficial? Exactly. And it's like, it's good vibes.
Exactly.
We don't want to be fighting uphill.
Right.
With anyone, right? We want them to be having as good a time as we are. And your lady understands the kind of guy that you are.
Have you met her?
No.
You haven't met her? Crazy.
COVID, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, yeah. You'll meet her at our wedding.
Yeah. Well, there's a condition.
Yeah.
So I might not be there.
We'll make it work.
No, we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about, it's about every relationship or every situation, every part, whatever the fuck, has its own ecosystem. It's its own world. It has its own rules. So if everyone just worries about their own thing that makes them feel good, I think that'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
We can't just, I think we're the same in the way where we rebel, your brother as well, my brother as well. We kind of rebel in a way like, we're not going to do what everyone does. It might, and maybe on our own terms later, we'll figure out that like what everyone did actually works pretty well, but we needed to find out for ourselves why. We couldn't just do it.
Exactly.
You know,
like a lot of my friends, who guys, like they took a very different road in life, school, big job, married, early kids, whatever. And they're fucking happy, man. And you know what I mean? And I love that. I'm happy for them. I don't know how it happens that for people like me, I knew from grade 5 that like I was going to be fucking horrible in school and that like I just wasn't going to be able to do anything in the academic world. I was lucky enough. I'm repeating myself, to have parents that were able to kind of push me and be like, you don't need that, but our generation was a little bit like transitional in that regard. I think like their generation was like, you need to go to school, you need to become an accountant or a lawyer or a fucking engineer, you need to buy a house and get married and blah, blah, blah. There was like steps, it was like how to kind of build up like what success is. Now it's a little bit different. I think parents are more lenient and like a little more kind of
open to alternative.
Yeah, they're
routes.
realizing slowly that like, okay, maybe like forcing my kid to go to college is like counterproductive a little bit, And yeah, so I think the mic just cut out. We're good. Good.
We're in a brave new world, and what I like though about like our crew, let's call it, is that we, like especially us, your brother, my brother, we're kind of like, we've got this like old school part of us that's in us, like we have this old school kind of this. We do really well with the boomers because we are part of them.
But I think it's largely due to our dads. Like both our dads kind of grew up in the tougher part of town, like maybe not a lot of money, you know what I mean? And like busted their ass and like built something, but
did what they had to do.
Yeah. And they like, I'll speak for my old man, but I'm sure it's the same with your old man. Like I'm sure he was able to talk to people from the old neighborhood, got fucking Greek mechanic who lives in wherever, Ville Saint Laurent, wherever he was from, or the, CEO of some big company, like some big garage door opening company, whatever, to be able to talk to those two different people from those two different worlds and to get along and to like, that's a gift. That's like really not easy. Not a lot of people have that, to be able to read the room like that. And I get that from my dad. And I think, that
definitely.
You would have got the same from your old man. I remember, a few conversations I had. I mean, I remember having dinner. With your old man, and like it was crazy. Like his riffing and the way he could just talk to everyone, and she's charming. It was crazy, and like it's clearly rubbed off on you and your brother.
Make everyone feel good.
Yeah,
he knows which buttons to push. Can be politically correct, but always get incorrect and always get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he chose his spots.
Remembers everyone's name. Shit like that. That's old school shit.
Yeah,
that's old school shit that like you don't get a lot of anymore. I try to like I especially being in the food world now, like a lot of it is run. Like the industry is mainly, you get guys like, like younger companies, like Midday Squares, shit like that. People who are like younger and like coming up, but like the old school dudes who are like, I happen to be doing business with, like the guys who run distribution companies and all this, like they're older guys, like the food brokers who are selling our sauce to, Metro or whatever. Like these guys are like in their 50s, they grew up doing deals, smoking cigars on the golf course. To be able to like have a conversation with them and not make them like to gain their respect, and that you're not like some new kid, chump kid who's just like entitled and like, which are automatically their reflex is gonna like go to that. Like, who the fuck, this kid came up with a hot sauce? What does he think? Like, who does he think he is?
But you come at it with an attitude of like,
you just got to be authentic, be yourself, and love your product, and that, it doesn't matter what you're making. It doesn't matter if you're making music, if you're making fucking hot sauce or anything. Authenticity, and I think this speaks for your old man, my old man. When they were in these situations, they were always authentic, and people, you can't argue with that. You can't diss authenticity.
No,
And
there's something you said there about dealing with like older people because of the line of work you're in. It was the same with me when I was a salesman. In my first trip, I went to Newfoundland, and I went to go sell garage door openers. Yeah. That first trip I went with my dad, but then the rest of the trips I went by myself. And I quickly learned that I had like 5 seconds to make sure that this 50 to 70-year-old dude that I was talking to was not going to slam the door in my face.
Right.
And I guess I was a kind of outgoing guy. Not really. I was pretty quiet. Maybe the partying kind of helped me out a little bit. I was in rock and roll.
Would you like take them out for dinner, or you'd go like to their office? Like what was the game plan?
So the game plan was I'd call them up, like cold call, like from home.
Yeah.
I'd set up meetings. I said, hey, I'm coming to town. I would love to meet you. I'd love to come by your office to show you our catalog, run you through the products, and then set up a dinner if you're into it.
A one-on-one dinner.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. Wow. It was the only fucking, it was like build a plane when you're crash landing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to fly out to this place. I have like 5-6 calls that whichever one's more receptive, I'll plan a dinner with them. And I would go out and first of all, I'd go in, I'd meet them. I had my slick back hair, shaved face, like respectful, company shirt tucked in, the works. I didn't look like a jerk.
Right.
I was raised by my dad, like and my mom, but raised by my dad in the sense that it was like if I didn't walk straight or I walked a little crooked, like he corrected me.
Right.
He's like, that's not how you fucking walk.
That's old school, man. Now,
yeah, you don't walk
it's
like
oh, my son can walk however he wants to walk, and it's like, I don't know. No,
it's like, don't fucking walk like that. You're going to get a beating.
That's it.
From me and the world.
That's it.
So you don't walk like that. So I was like trained from a young guy. I knew how to put on that assured old school, that stomp, whatever the fuck it was. And I worked in the warehouse with a multitude of different ethnicities since I was like,
I've been in that warehouse.
14. It's amazing. So like I was
guys.
raised side by side working with like Haitian guys and Indian guys, Pakistani guys, like Vietnamese, like all kinds.
Trend,
yes. And and it was really second nature to me. Like I guess I developed that to be able to talk to anybody, whether it was a customer that my dad brought in from a big company or the guys in the warehouse that I worked side by side with for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then it's just, it was nerve wracking to go fly out by myself. But after our first sales trip, my dad was like, all right, set up the next one. Tell me when we're going. And I'm like, no, you're not coming. Because the guy said he took up too much space. And so if you want me to develop these markets and go meet these customers, you can't be there.
Right.
Because I'm just your fucking secretary, your lapdog.
Exactly.
He respected that.
That's cool.
And then I went and, like I said, I was going for dinner. I was 22 and I was going out with 50-year-olds.
Did it ever get like, without incriminating yourself, I need to know, you ever go out with a guy who just turned out to be like a dark maniac and you would just go on these insane expeditions with, or like have these insane dark nights with?
Well, I've had some crazy nights,
but like
for sure. But I wouldn't say dark.
On a sales dinner though. Like would a sales dinner go off the rails completely?
Almost every time. Because it wasn't really a sales dinner. We weren't talking about business.
Right.
We're like, we're going to go out and I'm going to entertain you.
Right.
We're going to go to the steakhouse you want to go to. We're going to go to the strip club you want to go to.
Okay.
And we're going to just have a good time. And it just, people look like, I developed friendships with these guys and they look forward to me coming to town because I was an escape for them.
Right.
And only later on did I realize that was my true value add in this, because I offered them products at the same relative price as a competitor, but I brought them the party.
And then
young
story,
whippersnapper, I could charm.
That's it.
Charm the waitress by saying some goofy shit that was self-deprecating, and I could tell jerk off jokes to this fucking guy, and he thought it was hilarious because it's like, you're in Calgary, no one makes these. Calgary in 2005, no one's making fucking jerk off jokes, and I was just like pushing it to see, and I was building that rapport, and the products got sent relatively on time. We were good to deal with. We had amazing people on the phones, and I was just the initiator, the fire starter, and I would keep up that rapport.
You were the face of the whole
But
thing.
yeah, there was one time there was a guy who went real dark, like
let's go,
real dark, and it was at a trade show. It was in Las Vegas. Shout out to my friend Trevor if he's going to listen to this, but he'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And it's not. He was, I don't know, like 300 pounds, like 5'8", but like carried it well, carried it like a strong man.
Right.
So this guy was a beast. Like it's not like he needed a crane or a scooter to drive around. This guy was an animal. You could break a 2x4 on his chest and
yeah, no problem.
And he was just throwing back drinks, It was just throwing them back. And we're like, fuck, this guy can really drink, Like this guy's a stud. I don't know, about an hour later, he started getting like kind of crazy, and then he started getting real emotional, and then there was like crying and shit, and then just made everyone awkward, and it was a collective like group thing.
Right.
We went to this like regional trade show in Vegas, and we're like, yeah, let's just bring everyone out because that's how we made our name for ourselves.
Right.
We spent too much money just having a good time with people, and that's how people knew us.
So you'd bring out like a bunch of guys.
We'd bring out fucking competitors, man. We'd bring out competitors. And that was something my dad did.
I love that move.
He didn't give a fuck. Like the first trip to Newfoundland, we saw a competitor on the flight, and it's like, that guy is only going to be there for one reason, to go see those people. He's like, look, we're going to go see that guy. We'll all go for dinner together. And that's why people love my dad, because he put like the no nonsense ego competition shit.
Like we're all in this together. Like
He didn't give a fuck. And we were lucky to be in a relatively small industry.
That's it.
We all knew each other. We all grew up together. And so I came into this world for years and years. I was just dealing with older dudes and women, but it was mostly dudes. It was more of a trade kind of business. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of shit. And it's stuff that you learn that you don't know you learn.
Right.
But you learn how to read a room. You learn how to gauge someone's mood. You learn how, just like you know how to do. It becomes natural. It becomes intrinsic.
Right.
And I was really undisciplined before, like growing up. This taught me how to be on time for meetings. It taught me a lot of things that growing up kind of, I guess, sheltered in my room, playing guitar, eating apple pie, pulling a whack, that I didn't know. So it was a great experience. And if I didn't learn that shit, it would be a detriment to, I guess, who I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I remember Mish from back then, and it was like, I mean, it was crazy.
It was always 100%. So yeah, we're going to talk business. We're going to do this, or we're going to party. Because I would schedule my
100%.
trips. No one wanted to do meetings on the weekend, right? So I was flying during the week, and then on Friday nights I'd be back, and we'd show up in Hudson,
Go to the
Chateau du Lac, rest in peace. It's closed.
forever.
Oh, they're trying to sell the building. Maybe they sold it.
You gotta buy it.
That's what I don't need that energy, man. I don't need it. It was
there are some fucking demons in that.
yeah.
in that
It
building.
was a great place. It was an amazing spot. I went there maybe 500 Fridays in a row.
We did mushrooms there once.
I think we were alone there too.
You, me, and my brother. My
Yeah.
brother trashed the place.
We listened to the Hives.
We forced the DJ to play.
Like, did we really trash the place, or did we throw a couple of stools?
No,
on the
we didn't
ground?
trash the place. My brother threw stools on the ground, and the bouncer was about to kick him out, and my brother told him, "But I'm on shrooms, man." And the bouncer's like, "Ah, all right, that's cool. You're cool." Like,
Yeah, that's
like,
great about a
he was
country
like-
bar.
He was like, "I get it.
Country bar. A lot of great stories.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking great stories.
Good shit."
So what's next for Dave Rose? What's next in the world of Smoke Show? Why don't you talk about the product a little bit?
So yeah, I mean, what's next? The product development. The USA is like definitely in the crosshairs right now. It's I'm working on a partnership with Barstool.
No shit.
Yeah. So like fucking Barstool, they're like this living meme in the US is ranch. All these like college kids are always putting ranch on everything.
Yeah.
So I'm working as we speak on the recipe for a Smoke Show jalapeno ranch like sauce that is going to be targeted for the American kind of college demographic, cheap, delicious. And there's no jalapeno ranch out there, but it's pretty much a guaranteed delicious product.
Well, everything you make is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it doesn't get the Dave Rose kind of seal of approval. And it's
Because you didn't just start a random hot sauce company. You started a company that makes delicious products.
Yeah, thank you.
You're an artist.
The products have to be fucking delicious because we've all had a million different versions of sriracha, and there's nothing more boring than just releasing one of those. So you want to look for something that's unique. Ranch is like a safe bet, but we make it unique in the sense where we're putting jalapeno in it. And then so I don't. It's not a done deal yet with the Barstool thing. It's gonna be all ads that they're gonna run on their podcast and in their. How
did this come to be? And if you're not, well, you brought it up. So now you're in it.
Speaking of cold call, I cold called them. I listened to their hockey podcast a lot. I listened to a few. I follow their president, Dave Portnoy. Like he does this crazy pizza.
He's
reviews.
a wild dude.
He's a wild dude, man. But very cool story. Hard worker. 17 years, started like a betting. It was like a shitty newspaper in Boston, just like on bets.
He's a hard dude.
He's
seen some shit. He takes no shit.
He takes no shit. Yeah.
Mad respect, that guy.
He'll lean into the wind, and I don't know. I there's a lot to be learned. He's also a madman, and he has, I think, bad kind of managing skills, and he can be super disrespectful. But there's also a lot to learn from him, I think. So I love their brand. I love the story. 17 years of like shoveling shit. And they
Did it start as Barstool Sports, as like it was a magazine, like a sports betting magazine, or stats?
Exactly. It was a magazine. Sorry, it wasn't a magazine. It was a newspaper that they would write bullshit articles on, and they would place like bets. So like, okay, they wouldn't place bets. They would give picks for bets. So, this weekend Team X is playing Team Y. Like, you should pick Team X. Here's why. Like, bet on this, whatever. I don't know how betting works, but that's what it was. It was referred to as a betting rag. It's just like a shitty newspaper that kind of guides you in your bets. Betting is a big thing in, I guess, Massachusetts. So
I think it's a big thing in the world. Yeah. Obviously, you don't have that thing. I don't have that either. No, among other things, but
thank God.
That's glad I don't have that one.
Oh man, that's a dark one.
Yeah.
To quote Noam Macdonald, though, betting is the only addiction. Gambling is the only addiction that can make you filthy rich, which is good. Which is spoken like a true gambling addict. So anyways, Barstool. So big fan of their brand, and I just reached out to the producer of Spit and Chicklets, which is their hockey podcast. And I was like, hey, here's the name. And not to mention that for the last 10 years, Barstool has been putting on their blog Smoke Show Fridays. It's like every Friday they post a picture of an attractive woman, and they just refer to it as a smoke show of the week or whatever.
Okay.
So
your brand for the audience is Smoke Show.
Exactly. Like, the terminology is already there. It's like deeply entrenched in like the Barstool world. They're always posting videos of these like college girls putting a ranch on their pizzas, like downing a ranch. It's like ranch. Like, I don't know. It outsold last year, pound for pound. It outsold ketchup ranch in the US. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So,
because I see all these like Olive Garden, Applebee's memes.
Yeah, no, ranch.
And they always talk about ranch.
Yeah. Ranch.
Americans love ranch.
They love ranch, dude. They put on their pizza, they dip their wings.
It's like our maple syrup.
Exactly.
No, we don't use nearly as much maple syrup
ranch
as
is
that.
Incredible, though. I love ranch. So right now we're working on a ranch, jalapeno ranch, which we're going to launch in the US. Hopefully in partnership with Barstool.
That would be amazing.
And we're going to have warehousing in the States, blah, blah, blah. And
logistics. It's a logistic thing.
We'll get into that later. And hopefully that kind of shoots us into the next level. It's
in the wise words of Andy Menaris, wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. These many wise words come from that boy.
Yeah, do what you can with what you got.
Yeah, exactly. So
but that could be sweet.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, we're launching a Dijonnaise, like a kind of more low key Dijon sauce that is,
I think I tried
delicious.
that. Yeah, I think I tried an early beta version.
Yeah, it's really good. And a pantry collection for all you young condo owners whose fucking spice cabinet looks like shit. This is a collection of 6 delicious spices to keep your pantry looking sharp when that girl comes over from Tinder and opens the wrong drawer and finds all your neatly packed spices. You can thank me for that. So
I'm going to clip up that part. So and give it to you.
Yeah.
So you can have it for your marketing. Because that was a beautiful pitch.
Exactly. And that's kind of that's what's up, man. And the US online. I want to build online like crazy. I mean, you know this, but yeah, I want to build out online.
So COVID, how did that affect your thinking and strategy as a company?
So strategy right off the bat, we had to pivot big time. So I'm going to fix this. I know I just don't want it to like.
Well, you can go down up if you want.
Yeah.
Like this.
Hold on. Sorry, it's my first podcast, guys. All right.
Yeah.
So we're good now. Coronavirus, man. When that shit hit, I didn't know what was going to happen. It was like I didn't know what to expect. We sold at the time 30-40% of our revenue was to restaurants and bars, and they were forced to shut down. So I was like, okay, well, are we just going to lose 40% of our revenue and that's it and be fucked? That was like what I thought was going to happen. And then next thing I knew, I started to see like a big uptick. So the restaurants closed, and then I started seeing like the company that deals with us on Amazon, like sells our shit on Amazon, starts placing like big orders. And he's like, yo, your shit is blowing up on Amazon. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then our distributor for all our grocery stores, same shit. Yo, man, because no one was going to restaurants. So everyone's like, you know what? I'm going to go to the grocery store and try and spice up my life by not buying another shitty bottle of Tabasco. Like I'll splurge for this fancier hot sauce. So they were buying smoked. So we were able to compensate in that regard on,
So that naturally happened.
that happened naturally. Yeah. Then I got creative. I started bringing, everything started going well with like Amazon. I was like, I know so many people in the food world. I'm going to buy Amazon. I'm going to buy food products and sell them to this guy on Amazon. So completely unrelated to Smoke Show. We just started selling a bunch of shit on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was low hanging fruit that could like add to our revenue. And it was like no work done really. This guy was like a certified Amazon distributor and he just sells a bunch of shit on Amazon. So,
Are you at liberty to talk about some of the products that you're selling?
yeah, I guess so. Joe Beef, all their spice blends, we sell them through Amazon.
Amazing, because you developed those channels and then Magic Highways opened up.
Yeah, exactly.
Fifth dimension at work, fellow time travelers.
Yeah, exactly. Saint Viator Bagels.
Really?
Yeah, we just started with them. It's just easy, and people are way open now, way more open to buying fucking food online.
I only buy food online, other than like going to the butchery.
But like when this started 5 years ago, man, like I would maybe get one order a month online. Mind you, we were a much smaller business and we weren't pumping any money into ads or anything, but like no one, like the common consumer was like way more kind of like, oh, I want to go to the grocery store and I want to see the product. I want to hold it like, oh, this product is warehoused like next to an iPhone charger in an Amazon fulfillment center. It's like a weird concept. Well, it was. And then when coronavirus hit, people just got way more open to it. They were forced to start ordering food on Amazon and it just kept rolling. But the problem that we had during coronavirus was supply, was making the product, because all of our clear plastic bottles were bought up from all the hand sanitizer companies and all the fucking,
I remember.
all the soap companies were just buying up all the plastic. So we literally could not find plastic. So I almost had to switch the bottle, whatever. Luckily we got through that shit show and yeah, now, things are kind of back to normal. So plastic supply is back to normal. And we're just looking ahead.
But online business versus traditional restaurant, because the restaurants just closed again.
Closed.
Did things come back when they came back? Yeah. Did you see
for like 30 seconds? Like we got a couple restaurant orders and then they were forced to shut down again. It was just.
So have you shifted more to an online strategy?
Yeah, big time. Right now, the entire focus, we shot ads last week. We're shooting more ads next week.
Getting some nice conversions or what?
We're getting there. It's not where we want it to be, but every month we kind of, retreat, count the wounded, and
refine.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's all it is, really.
Hit them again, and keep plowing forward until you find the winning formula. So yeah, we just want to build online. Like I want to 10x our online sales. Margins are healthier, everything, and it's like the biggest room for growth. And it's pretty much simple. The whole
simple logistics.
Yeah, the process is so easy, man, for us to just ship out sauce to anywhere. Right now, we can do it worldwide. We have people ordering from the US, but it's like shipping's very expensive because we're shipping it from here. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling right now.
But it's super interesting because a lot of people want to figure out how to make do during financial insecurity.
Yeah.
Or insecure times, sell online.
Sell online. It doesn't matter. And what's great, especially if you have a food product, if you're selling, a lot of people are worried about selling their product online, because it's not made in like a government inspected facility and whatever. But if you're selling a product directly to the consumer, you can make whatever the fuck you want. So if you have a good jam recipe, make it at home, create a free Shopify website and just sell it and ship it. I know it sounds crazy, but you can do it. It's like selling a product at a farmer's market. No one's coming to inspect about how clean your kitchen was when you made it or whatever. You're legally allowed to make a food product and to sell it to someone, at least in Canada. I don't know, how many people are going to be listening to this from outside.
The thing is with these things, they exist forever, right?
Yeah.
And I got a lot of Ukrainian fans.
Yeah. Shouts to Ukraine.
Shout out.
Actually?
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, we ship hot sauce to Ukraine. And so smokeshowsauce.com.
Because when you come on next time, because this is going to be a...
Yeah. And I'll create a promo code for you.
Oh, that
should we create it right now? What should it be? Just let's just create a promo code called MISCHO.
Sure.
Or like, I don't know, whatever. What do you want it to be? Anyone who listens to your shit forever will have a discount.
So
on
it'd be
our
like
stuff.
smokeshow.com/ time travel or something?
I don't know how to do it that way, but I think all they'd have to do is on checkout is just put a fucking
Perfect.
a promo code. So what do you want it to be? It should be something good, no?
Yeah.
Think about it.
The Galactic Federation of... No, short and simple, man.
How about no, you gotta come up with it. It's your promo code. I'm literally doing it right now.
Time travel. No, because that's 2 words. We want to do one thing. MISCHO.
How about MISCHO?
Yeah, MISCHO.
All right.
Let's do it. We're doing it live.
All right.
We're doing the thing.
Create discount code. Oh no, hold on. Automatic discounts. Where are we at?
Oh, so you can do this on your phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Man,
do it right now.
you are hype.
I'm all right. Discount code MISCHO. So anyone listening to this, and then you and I will discuss your kickback. You know, we'll
very nice.
We'll get you a little.
Yeah, I'm looking
we'll get
forward
you-
to that
yeah,
conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
It's been a while. You've been wanting to hear that word for a while. All right.
So that'd be
What
great.
would
So,
you like? Fucking
no, yeah, it's your call. I have no idea how this
15%. What's the podcast standard? 15% is good, right?
I guess.
I think so.
As long
That's
as
like
it, as
the
long as it doesn't
podcast I
put you
listen
and
to.
your future wife on the street,
No, yeah, I hope not.
because you're probably gonna get at least 100,000 orders
From Ukraine,
this podcast.
I'm gonna have to pay $1 billion in shipping, but that's all right. So okay, MISCHO will get you 15% off. Smokeshowsauce.com. Dude, we're gonna slowly turn this into like a real pod, and by we I mean you.
Well, absolutely.
But I mean, if you have a podcast and you're not pushing a promo code, you don't have a podcast.
You're not a real podcast.
That's it.
And dude, this is brought to you by Smoke Show.
So MISCHO, 15% off all products on Smoke Show.
Yeah, you want to be a sponsor? I'll like talk about you every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's legit. You're
That's
my first
it.
sponsor.
That's it.
Hey, let me shake your hand.
We'll set it up so like we can do like go to smokeshowsauce.com/MISCHO and
Yeah, welcome, fellow time traveler.
yeah. And
Like,
then we'll have it all set up. Proud sponsor of the
MISCHO podcast.
Yeah, we'll put you on the website.
Yeah, I love it. Yo, I'm so into it
you
because yesterday I booked 12 podcasts.
Come on.
Yeah, man. Jake's coming on. Salmon Daddy.
Wow. That guy.
Nick Saltarelli.
Wow, dude. I mean, that's.
I got all the stars, and anyone you think,
I love it.
Send them my way because I'm going to be super consistent on this. Like,
I can send some people your way for sure. Like rogue dudes, you know?
Yeah.
Like people will make a great conversation.
yeah, man.
But like rogue, like
Yeah, well, just tell me first. Unless you want to like, just send them to me. They'll show up at this time.
show up at this time.
Yeah.
Some fucking
Guys who
maniac
still have
walking.
pagers.
Yeah. No, I mean, who else did you book?
Well, obviously I had Trin, my brother, Turcotte's on Friday.
Donnie?
No, Donnie is going to come on. The elusive Donnie Dekas will probably be on episode 1000
Okay.
because he needs to see proof of concept before he
He's not sold.
potentially like he doesn't want to potentially affect his brand. So he wants to make sure he's coming on to at least 1 million episodes, a million views.
Like,
right?
ladies and gentlemen,
And I get it.
we're
And-
so happy to have him after 10 years.
Because
of
in the
trying.
negotiations between our management,
Right.
this doesn't have enough traction yet because we
Right.
haven't even launched.
Yeah.
So he's a big time player.
Okay.
And when it's time to promote his
I get
art
it.
in 1,000
Is he
episodes,
still making art?
yeah, he's got a sweet spot.
Come on.
Yeah,
Is he selling? Is it like thousands of dollars for a Donnie Dekas piece?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. He's building his website now. So Donnie Dekas is an amazing artist.
Yeah, I know he is.
He's got such good.
I didn't know that he was just still making art.
Yeah, he's making art. He's a man of many talents.
He is. He's gifted. Last time I saw him, he was like
Yeah.
working in someone's house, like just doing shit with.
Well,
his
he's
hands.
like running teams. Like
Yeah.
he knows what to do. He rebuilt his whole house.
I know.
Sold it.
He flipped it.
Yeah, man, by himself. Fuck, guy's a savage. But no, he's choosing his spots where he wants to do things. He's created a nice ecosystem for himself.
Yeah.
And I think he has because my brother and I have been hyping the Donnie Dekas brand for eons.
He's a legend. That guy is a fucking.
He's going to be the mayor of Griffintown. when he walks by, people come out, they wave to him.
They salute him.
Yeah, because
he's gonna get like 2 flags on his car. You know that. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Your brother should drive him around in the 560 with the Jordanian flags.
Which, by the way, had a little problem on the highway the other day. Oh no. He pulled up. He was going to jam, and like there was smoke coming out the engine or some shit. But he thinks it's just a gasket issue. But yeah. But I mean, other than that,
it's a 1988 560
So for the record, yeah. And
Jay Leno's favorite car of the 80s.
Really? I was watching Jay Leno the other night. Did you see on my Instagram? He was riding a 1918 motorcycle. And Jay Leno is such a goof, man. He's hilarious. Mish and his brother sold my brother their grandfather's 560 SEL from 1988, the year I was born. And it was in triple mint condition, which, by the way, I have to say my brother has kept it. Have you seen it recently?
No, but my brother saw it 2 days ago. He saw the king himself driving down the street.
Clean as fuck. My brother keeps it immaculate.
That's the car that's in the Machine video.
Right. It is. And
it is the Machine.
My brother's in that video as well.
Of course he is. But I think that's the problem with it. It was too mint. Like, when cars are not driven enough, that's when they develop problems.
Yeah.
So he had to fix a couple of things.
Yeah. I mean,
but it was a bargain.
Aesthetically, yeah. He got it for a fucking steal. So, anyways, my brother will give you the rundown on that when he's on here.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
What were we just talking about? We were talking about
your podcast, people you want. I want to get some people on here for you.
And it's fun because there's no plan of attack. I haven't chosen a niche. Like most podcasts are like practical, like this isn't a podcast about how to fix drum brakes,
right?
Like YouTube channels.
Right.
This is just like the niche is just this. It's just good conversation. We're gonna cut up because I watch all the greats,
Yeah.
And so they have the podcast on the main channel, and then they have a separate channel that's cut up clips.
Yeah.
With like proper titles.
That's it.
Like, let's say we talked about online food business.
Yeah.
So online food business, it'll be a 5-second segment, and it'll be on a separate channel called like MISCHO clips or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's tagged, and it's more discoverable.
Yeah.
And like, I'd say our crazy story about 2012.
Right.
That'll be tagged. We'll tag like Burgundy Lion, and maybe we'll get like a Montreal based to like come in on that.
That's it.
And so every podcast will be like at least 5-6 clips. So every week there's
but then you'll also have the full thing.
Of course.
Yeah. And you can do that. Like you can upload, I mean, Rogan does it, but like you can upload a fucking 5-hour video to.
Oh yeah. Yeah. YouTube has come along. It used to be 10 minutes. I remember.
Yeah. I didn't know it changed.
Yeah. You can upload. Well, I'm going to find out. I haven't uploaded because on average they've been like 2 hours like this.
Yeah.
And it's at 2 hours, we kind of get our, unless we're fucking high or something.
Yeah. Do you smoke pot or like do any sort of like THC?
Funny you ask. Yeah, I do. I don't smoke. I don't enjoy
like
smoking,
edibles?
but I'm a big fan of edibles.
Yeah. Like heavy dose or like micro dose?
Heavy dose.
Really? I mean, well, yeah.
Well, no, like once in a blue, which is like twice a month, I'll hit myself with enough THC edibles to like become the couch.
Okay.
Like my friend Rob Turcott was saying, oh, do you take it and like you get like a creative boost of energy? I'm like, no. I take it because like I just love numbing out in a safe way where there's like no hangover.
Right.
So on my couch, I'll watch some movies, I'll get some donuts, and it'll be my little treat.
You'll have an episode, yeah. Like
and it's a nice, relaxing, safe way to go.
Yeah.
It's not that high because I'm a lightweight.
Yeah.
But that's what I dabble in. I have a drink once in a while.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a glass of wine.
With dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, if I go to a restaurant.
Right, which days are fucking over.
Before the Great War.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon. 2020. I keep telling all the boys, 2021's our year, boys.
That's it.
2021's our year.
2021 is the year. I mean, I hope so. I'm about to fucking book a wedding. You want to be our wedding planner, Mish?
No thanks. No chance, as Donnie Deacons would say. No chance.
No chance.
But yeah, 2021 is going to be great. Oh, I can see it, right? Because I have the ability to see the future.
You have the gift to see the future.
And so that's what time travel is. It's the ability to like grow in time. It's a metaphor for like personal growth.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just about understanding that at least my personal philosophy is, if you help yourself, the universe will conspire in your favor.
Right.
And if you don't, it will conspire in the opposite favor.
I hear you.
And that's just been something that I found true to myself. And I feel like that's what time travel is. So you're able to see your memories and things with different perspective.
I love it.
And that's what time travel is, my dude.
Cool.
So Does that wrap us up on?
I think so.
On
man.
episode 3
I gotta
of the
get back
pod.
to work. I gotta get back to work.
Amazing. Well, luckily you're down the hall.
Yeah, that's it, which is great. So anytime you need another guest,
You could be my Norm Macdonald on the Conan O'Brien show.
man,
Remember that?
I mean, I would be. First of all, I could never live anywhere up to that. But
I met Norm, by the way. Did I tell you that?
what?
I met Norm. I went to some comedy show, and my agent John, because I have an agent.
Dude, you're so Hollywood.
I'm so connected. Well, I don't know if Hollywood's fucking burning.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Hollywood's
I don't know if those days are over. But
That's it.
but we went to watch him, and Norm showed up an hour late to the set.
As he does.
Normally he doesn't do that. He was quite apologetic, but when he showed up on stage, he had like a Band-Aid on his face, and he said he was on a new Sandler movie, and he got into he wanted to do his own stunt. And this is what he said. He said he wanted to do his own stunt, and he got hurt. And so that's why it took him forever to get back.
Do you think it's complete fabrication?
Well, we all believed it. The crowd believed it. And his first set that he did was like 2 hours long. He was supposed to do 2 sets, and he read the clock wrong. And I know this because that's what he told me. Because I went in the dressing room. I got to meet him with John, and he read the clock wrong. So like the whole time was for both sets, but he did it in one. So the people were waiting out. Like it was just a catastrophe. But Norm slapped.
Did he kill? Yeah.
He was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
He was fucking amazing. But
And how was he when you met him? Like, was he like kind of
so tall.
Was he welcoming? Was he like, hey, but like, nice to meet you? Or was
He was he was very friendly.
Yeah.
He was like a friendly, timid, like sweet, odd soul.
Right.
And he was drinking Shirley Temples.
I'm not surprised.
I think that's what he was drinking. And when John, my agent, said, "So how are you doing? Like, are you okay?" He's like, I made that shit up. I was just fucking late.
All right. I fucking had a feeling, man.
Oh, you fucking read him right. But
I'm like, Norm would fucking just carry gauze in his pocket and just wrap it around his head and be like, I had a terrible accident on an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, and everyone believed it. Everyone loved it. And we hung out with him a little bit. He did his set, and we drove home.
Fuck, that's cool. So what's your agent like? Is he like super Hollywood agent type?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, he got you in a green room to meet John McDonald.
Yeah.
Wow, Norm McDonald. That's
his brother is Rob Schneider.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, Rob Schneider.
He's hilarious. Did you see his new Netflix special?
No.
Way more not to knock on Rob Schneider, because I've always been a big fan of his films and his appearances in the Sandler movies and the Sandler sagas.
Yeah.
Which you got to see Hubie Halloween.
Okay.
Like he packed all the punches.
Okay.
Sandler brought pretty much everyone who's ever been in anything of his, and he even made it like there was Veronica Vaughn or like alliterations, classic alliterations.
Here's the make or break. Is Steve Buscemi in it?
Of course he is. He's a werewolf. he's a werewolf.
I mean the fact that Steve
Buscemi
is in these Sandler movies is fucking hilarious.
That guy is legendary because he's like an esteemed actor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like his acting is studied in like acting schools.
Yeah. Like him on Broadway, Boardwalk Empire, or him in like serious movies. Unbelievable. But he's still cool enough that he can appear in a Sandler movie. And he usually plays like a deranged lunatic.
Like Crazy Eyes.
Like he plays what he looks like.
What's the movie? Is it Mr. Deeds where he plays Crazy Eyes and he's got like 2 googly eyes?
I think it is Crazy.
So, yeah.
Is it? Or is
I think it's
that Bobby Boucher one? The what?
Oh.
Because he's the homeless guy. School's for fools. Look at me. But yeah, Hubie Halloween you got to watch. And my agent's he's a nice guy, family guy, sweet guy.
Yeah.
Connected me to some really interesting people. Working on some cool stuff via him. So
that's good.
So it's cool.
That's the point. I know nothing of that world, so I'm happy that
Well, honestly, neither do I.
Yeah.
Neither do I. But let's just say that it's gonna. You never know. You never know.
That's it.
You never know. And this podcast is definitely not going to hurt.
No, that's it. And yeah, on that, congrats. I love what you're doing, and
thank you very much.
Just keep fucking going for it.
And I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to see that big collab, because this is the 5th dimension. What we say here manifests, my friend.
Yeah.
It creates.
I mean, let's just do it. I don't know. Like this whole fifth dimension. I mean, next thing I know, I'm gonna be wearing one of your fucking.
Do you want one of these here armbands?
Sure.
You know, you walk around looking like a fucking like a freak. I don't want to put that. I don't want to say what I want to say, but I don't want to put that fucking out.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
All right, my dude.
We're out.
Well,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for hanging out.
Play some fucking music.
Here, I'll play something going out here. Let's see what I got. It's gonna be real short because it's only the intro.
Let's go.
Let's hear what we got. This is playing us out. Well, Dave Rose, where can we follow Smoke Show?
Instagram at Smoke Show Sauce. Go to our website, smokeshowsauce.com. Promo code MISCHO, MISCHO.
Hell yeah.
15% off. Ship anywhere in the world. And thanks for having me.
So Smoke Show Sauce, and also available on Amazon if that's
Prime,
your only option.
Yeah, Amazon.ca, Amazon.com. If you're in Canada, we're in a grocery store somewhere near you. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks
Wonderful.
For
Well, Dave
talk
Rose.
About fucking whatever.
Hey, that was great.
Thanks for having
Isn't
me,
that
man.
great?
It's been a treat.
Isn't it cool? No phones.
Yeah.
Just straight talk.
It's great. It's
Trying
great.
not to have too much blank air.
Yeah.
You brought up some
Dead
good
air.
old stories, you know?
Yeah.
So let's see what
there's
we got
more.
here.
Go, let her rip.
A little excerpt from Spaced Out, coming to you in 2021 off the EP California Beamin'. And we're done.